I literally just could not get up. Like I just needed to take that minute and have a pity party and just feel sorry for myself and just be in it. Just be in it fully.
No, you're in St Lucia. I'm here in cold, windy, the UK. And we're just going to have a chat about resilience, something that is so close to my heart, and I know yours as well. So I want to welcome you, Lark. Thank you for holding space with me and taking a time out of your busy, busy schedule to record this episode of the Long Story Short podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I feel quite honored and privileged to have been invited. So I'm just looking forward to our chat today. And certainly resilience is a story I can relate to really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the initial chat that we have, and I want to say thank you to Dr. Ava Brown, do you know what I mean, for the introduction as to why we're here today. And I am just so looking forward to, sharing sharing with the world your story about resilience. So let's just dive right in there. So who is Lark Ambris?
So, Lark Ambris, I am always cautious when I follow anything with I am. I think I am is such a powerful thing to say. So I like to say that I am joy. I'm a representation of all that's good in the world. I am a daughter, a sister, a friend. I am a lot of things. I am so much more than the work that I do and the job title that I carry. I choose to identify with all the other I ams. So hopefully that answered your question. But the work that I have done and do, as I know a lot of people are interested in, right? I work a lot with mindset. And we can go into the whole reason as to the why, and that's part of my whole resilience story. But I work a lot with mindset. I work primarily with women, and I'm always looking for new ways that I can be more impactful and reach more people in different ways and more deeply.
Awesome, awesome, because guess what? I've got the book.
Hey, I recognize that book. Oh man.
No. I got it, I think I have it about maybe a week ago now. And I quickly went to chapter 7 to have a read about your journey and your story. And I just want to read something because that sort of like leads us directly into a question that I have for you about why and how you left the corporate world behind.
Can I just do a little shout out? That's Nick, the bipolar writer. She was the publisher. She's a Trini woman, and she brought us all together 35 authors, co-authors, a trilogy. That's one of three. So I just wanted to give her a quick plug and shout out. She deserves it. So thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So one morning, a few days before Christmas 2019, I was curled up in the fetal position on the floor of my cheese factory, bawling my eyes out. It was all just too much, too many miles on the highway, too many late nights in production, and too many unmet expectations. The relentless pursuit of success was wearing me down, as it does for so many others in the quest for a dream that seems further out of reach with every passing day. Tell us about that day.
Ooh, man, you took me right back there. It's always different when I hear it read. Wow. Yeah, I'm hearing you talk and I'm just truly back on that floor. So I had transitioned before, right? This was not my first transition, but on that one day, um, I just couldn't anymore. I just received like one phone call, like the temp worker who was supposed to have come didn't. She just made a call and, she couldn't come. And so I realized this is not the first time. It's that one straw, the proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back. And I literally broke that day. So that day I literally had been running on fumes. Um, and just like that, it just felt like it was so overwhelming. I just felt on that particular morning, it felt like everything literally fell on me. and I physically could not even support myself standing up anymore. So I literally just collapsed on the floor. I literally just could not get up. Like I just needed to take that minute and have a pity party and just feel sorry for myself and just be in it. Just be in it fully. You know, that's what was going on. That's what was going on. It just was too much.
It is such a great read, and I know that a lot of people can resonate with your story when you just get to a point where it's just too much and I can't take it anymore. But what is a backdrop? I mean, when I read it, I didn't realize that you was in the cheese manufacturing industry. I was like, wow, I need to talk to this lady, you know? So
So
tell us about the backdrop, you know, as to how you got to even, you know, manufacturing trees. I would love to hear about that.
nice. So I started my career in public accounting. I had done an internship in the Caribbean, and I knew in my heart of hearts that is not what I was born to do. But growing up in the society that I did, I felt quite pressured to be, you know, lawyer, doctor, business person, somebody with an impressive title. Like this is who I was supposed to be. And so I went from my experience in the Caribbean, went to uni, studied accounting, and then joined one of the big firms. And I realized this is not working. But as many of us do, we realize that this is not what we're supposed to do, but we don't know what else to do. So we remain stuck. It literally took me years and years and years to get out of that environment and ultimately go to live in Africa. But we'll get to that, I'm sure. So that was like transition. I consider that transition number one. So that was like the first on the brink of burning out and not doing what to do. I didn't have skills. I didn't have anyone to talk to. Like, it's not like now, right? We don't, it's not like now. Back then, we're talking, you know, in the early 2000, right? So that was the first pivotal point, I would say. And then off I went to be in Africa for 2 years to just figure stuff out. So I went into developmental work, and that's when I'm like, finally, I'm doing what I was born to do. That felt good. And my 2 years of service with the Peace Corps ended up being 8 years. So after my Peace Corps service, I found other ways to gainfully be employed and work on projects and help other African women build themselves, their lives, etc. Until another pivotal breaking point came, another like huge decision-making point, and I decided, you know what, I need to go to the Caribbean. So coming back to the Caribbean region, which I'd been out of for several years at this point, decades, I needed to do something where I had a fair amount of autonomy. And so I made a huge decision to invest in myself and in my dream. And I don't know that I thought cheese was what it was supposed to have been, but that's where the opportunity opened up. Somebody who knew somebody sent me information. I had a conversation. I was promised the world. I bought all of this equipment, commercial grade, all of this stuff. I had promises, paid money to get an Italian cheesemaker to come and train me personally. The local person did share what knowledge he had. I did a lot of research on the internet. I believed on me. I betted on me wholeheartedly. And I know you're in the UK. In the US, we have something called a 401k. It's an investment vehicle, like literally you contribute to it from the time you start working. I took a whole lot of money out of there because I really believed in my dream. I was going to make this work no matter what. And so with all of this investment that I had made and all the promises that I had made, into cheese making I went. I was a cheese maker. It was amazing. I built quite an amazing network with fellow producers. I was the only one doing cheese in my little bubble there. I made great relationships with supermarkets, with small vendors, with pop-up shops. It was amazing. So that was my cheese making. It was quite circuitous, but that was how I ended up making cheeses. I wanted to do something where I had autonomy. I wanted to build this empire. That's what I thought this was going to be what Lark did. She was going to be rock star of the Caribbean. And that's how, you know, the cheese making was the vehicle I was going to use to take me there.
Absolutely amazing, because I don't know any black person that's into cheese. Do you
There you go.
understand what I mean? So it was, I just really wanted to hear the backdrop and how the opportunity
Mhm.
arose for yourself, you know. So during that period of time, do you know what I mean? On your factory floor, and even thinking about how you pivoted and you went to Africa and then, you know, you was in the Peace Corps. What valuable lesson, you know what I mean, did you feel that you took during that season in your life?
Yeah. One is that you don't always have all the answers, you know? If you ask me now, I would initially have said, oh no, I've been very conservative and whatever. But then when I do look in the rear view mirror, no, not so much. You know, I betted on myself when I left the Caribbean with very little support. When I left corporate America, again, not a whole lot of support. The lessons that I learned were it may not have looked successful, the outcomes, but you still have to believe in yourself and keep marching forward. You know, you can acquire skills, you can learn to do things. What you cannot learn, what nobody can teach you, is what's driving you internally at some point. And it took me decades, I would say into my 50s, to finally figure out you have to follow that internal engine. Um, but you do have to believe in yourself and be willing to take chances on yourself, you know, and when you recognize what short gaps are, you have to be willing to invest to learn what what you need to learn. So I'll leave that there, but that's only part of the story. You know,
Mm.
I think the rest of the story truly came later on, right? But that is the if nothing else for now, people stay stuck in situations and life is going to keep going anyway. So staying in a place and graying early and becoming miserable and bitter doesn't serve anyone. Like, you have got to find that place inside of you that propels you forward, even if it's not going to be in the quote unquote right direction initially. You gotta just still move. There is growth in everything.
I love that. That's so profound. There is growth in everything. And I also think about success. You know, I was speaking to a gentleman yesterday and we're talking about what does success look like. Many
Mhm.
people look at the outside, isn't it? Like they look at the outside, and if you're not
Yeah.
bling, bling, bling in, you haven't got the latest this and you haven't got the latest that, then you are not successful. But we was talking about how the journey is success, just as long as you remain on that journey, on that path, that is success. But how do you redefine, or have you now redefined what success looks like for you?
It's still evolving, if I'm 100% completely honest, but I will say success now is more of an internal sense of satisfaction that you're living in purpose, that you are being truest to yourself, that you are the best representation of whomever your God is. That for me is a successful day when I have been able to overcome challenges, especially those that I know have crippled me in the past. That for me is success, because when I can be clear and have clear conscience, clear thoughts, just clear mind, just be peaceful and come from a place of power, an internal place of power. I think with that clarity, then you can do all of the things to acquire all of the things. But when you're swirling and living in somebody else's reality, that's that's um that's a shallow win. That's a shallow win. So definition of success for me today looks more like living in full alignment with self.
Oh, I love that, living in fuller alignment with self. Does that also got to do with you changing locations? Do you know what I mean? From USA now to the Caribbean, well, Africa, then to the Caribbean. Has that got something to do with it in terms of building a business in line with your values?
Yeah. You know, I needed each of those steps to be where I am today. Um, a lot of the issues that I may have been searching for elsewhere, ultimately were here in St. Lucia, and they did not have resolution. And with my older, wiser years and self, I can now truly appreciate that a lot of what I was seeking to build, it was an internal journey, and I kept trying to do it outside. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I needed to have come back here. But had I not been through all of the other growth opportunities and events in my life in all the different countries, with all the different cultures, with all of the different wins and losses, I would not have been equipped. I would not have been as sure and prepared as I am today to finally get that resolution and truly settle into who and what I'm here to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So in a sense, being in the Caribbean has been a gift for you, isn't it?
100%. 100%. And it's so interesting because I have had this client who moved from the UK actually to St Lucia, and it's always a bumpy road when you make those transitions. For some of us, we come with a lot of expectations, and they get adjusted, some more painfully and some take longer than others. My journey to St. Lucia came via Trinidad, another Caribbean island. I needed that. That's where my cheesemaking business was, right? And so I needed that transition because Trinidad is a big, small island. I would not have survived if I had come directly from the US to the Caribbean, like this client of mine did. So that's where I really needed to help her make that transition a lot more smoothly. But yes, the Caribbean offers an amazing array of opportunities for self-growth and self-development, but also for a lot of us who started out here and reside in the diaspora, or who are so influenced by our parents who are of Caribbean parentage. There are a lot of things that we grew up with ideologically and culturally that remain unhealed well into our 40s and 50s. So the Caribbean, I think, holds like a treasure chest for a lot of us to come and tap into so that we can become our best selves. The Caribbean truly, I loved how you put it as a gift. It truly has been a gift in more ways than one.
I love it when you're talking about the expectations of coming from, as you said, the UK, the US to the Caribbean. Sometimes, I mean, I travel to the, Caribbean quite regularly, and I try because, it's still a work in progress, forget about the expectations and how things are done here, as opposed to how we think it should be done in the Caribbean. But once we accept this is how things are, it's so much more easier, isn't it? There's less conflict, there's less, do you know what I mean, being aggravated and frustrated, and you just get into the rhythm of the Caribbean. I absolutely love it. When I go there, it's definitely a gift for me. It is definitely a blessing. So how do you, I can say, transfer the blessings of being in St. Lucia and the blessings of being able to impart knowledge into your clients so that they live their best life into your coaching practice?
Yeah. So it's a daily practice for me to be grounded and to reconnect with today. I'm just going to be the best me that I can be, that I need to be. Because even after being in the Caribbean, not being able to order something or for it to come and they say it's not here, but you can see in the system that it is. I mean, those are just little niggly things that are still irritating. I mean, it's really so simple. Like it came, you call, it came, you send them an email. Like it should be so simple. So those things are still niggly. How one could show up is just recentering. Okay, and how am I going to respond to that? Because this is still the broken system. I have made the calls, I've made the suggestions. I'm doing all that I can to influence the change I want to see. So it's always that self-regulating. And so by me actually living this, I get to help others because I know the frustration, right? I experience the frustration. I can also see how short my level of irritation is, how less intense it is. Like I can understand, like, oh, good Lord, really? Here we go again. All right. That's now a trigger for deep breathing time, as opposed to going down that path and staying there for longer. So it's like those kinds of things that are teaching moments. They are empowering moments. They are how you can help a client see, okay, hold on, let's hold a mirror up. Let's look at how you responded, how ideally, and just, there are so many opportunities that one gets to examine that. So I think the gift is, it's always ongoing. Like there are no shortage of opportunities here. And that's just on the day to day. But growing a business here too is, it took me a while to start. I really was focused on maintaining international clientele and presence. And I would say it's only more recently that I have looked at what could I do locally. And it's so funny that we're talking, because I literally got off the phone with somebody who is based in Africa. I came across her and we made collab because she's got some amazing challenges that she's overcoming and issues that she's running into. She was talking about me and what I run into here. And it's so similar. The foundation that we work from, the mental fitness aspect of it, and running in culturally to the same kinds of roadblocks, and how we need to modify and redefine and recreate so that it suits us better. So that kind of ongoing journey, it's always being dynamic. It's always paying attention and learning how to take you out of it and truly just understand what the situation is asking of you. So that's a skill, I think, that one just has to develop so that you can thrive and flourish and be most useful, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense, because I'm nodding here. I'm like this, I'm like that, I'm like this. And I'm also thinking about your particular business in terms of helping high performers balance between personal success and their work. What are the types of, how can I say, like struggles, do you know what I mean, that
Right.
the most common struggles that you face in terms of your business practice?
Right. So I would say that I have shifted a lot. So I used to work with a lot of people who were going through those challenges, like this woman who picked up and came to St. Lucia, and she's trying to keep working at a UK pace, but living island life. And then she's got a family of two boys, and she's trying to get them in school, and so it's like balancing all of those things. And then you have somebody here who's like running this whole company, but we're still in a very patriarchal, as much as we say the US is patriarchal. And I reference the US because that's the one that I know. I don't know that it's terribly different where you are either. But then here you have women who are rising and doing really well. And across the board, on the surface, it looks like women are really okay here and they're dominating. They're still running into the old boys clubs. They're still limited in opportunities. They still have to fight twice as hard. They still have to explain twice as long. So it's just, those are some of the issues that I see across the board. And that's a cultural thing. And a lot of the women that I've worked with are Black women. So that's who, I'm not saying that we're the only ones who have those issues. I'm speaking to that because that's a demographic I work with and I know firsthand. And I hear firsthand and I empathize with wholly and mostly. So yes, we still are running into those kinds of things, that imposter treatment that I have spoken about on occasion, where you are more than qualified, like you've earned your place at the table and you're still being asked to defend it. You still have to explain one more time. You're still going to get 2 extra questions that if you looked a little different, you won't. So those are some of the issues and common threads that I still continue to see. And I will say one of the benefits of me living and working in the Caribbean, in the US, I actually had the opportunity to work in Europe, didn't live there, but worked there, lived and worked in Africa, worked in Asia. Like there are some things, well, I didn't see women working in Asia, but this was a long time ago when I would have done that. Common thread. We are always being asked to defend a little bit more vigorously, those are common threads that I still see. So yeah, that would be the one, the whole imposter treatment. And I'm borrowing this phrase. I'm going to do another shout out. Elizabeth Leiber, she wrote this book. I'm not yelling. If you haven't read it yet, please. I mean, she doesn't pay me to say this. The book was just that impactful. And she spoke to a lot of what I experience and I hear. So I still believe to be true. But those are some of the biggest issues that I still find, that we as women, and as Black women especially, are being asked to prove ourselves again and again and again. We saw this in the last presidential election in the US, who's qualified and who's not qualified. I'm not getting into a political debate. I'm just saying, take a step back and look at credentials. Just look at who was asked to defend and explain and justify and earn their place, who had more, that kind of thing. It's pervasive. It still goes on. And then a lot of us internalize that and start to develop imposter syndrome, which we are more qualified. We have no reason to feel that way. But over time, those little paper cuts, what Leiber calls microaggressions, they do wear you down. They do tear you down. They tear down your confidence. They tear down your sense of self-esteem and your sense of self. Because we're dealing with all of that, but we still have families to run. We still have households to run. We still have aging parents to care for. We still have the whole myriad of things to deal with on top of.
I'm just thinking about the imposter syndrome, and I'm thinking about how do we as Black women then navigate that? Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because as you said, we've got microaggressions that we have to deal with on a daily basis. So what advice would you give to Black women in leadership, in management positions, as CEOs, etc., director of companies, even those who are just happy in the careers that they love and that they enjoy and they're passionate about? How do we navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, we have to first acknowledge, because believe it or not, a lot of us are out there afraid to actually admit that it happens. That's the first thing. There are a lot of us who are, for whatever reason, we are afraid to acknowledge that certain things exist, that we are being treated unfairly. Like, we have to be able to first objectively look at the situation and allow ourselves to acknowledge that it is unfair, that we are being treated unfairly. It is not playing victim. It's not feeling sorry for yourself. It's just what it is. And so I think that is the first thing. Before we can even talk about solving a problem, you have to first at least acknowledge that there is a problem. So assuming that we're now in full acknowledgement of that, and we can't go out and change the systems, like you said, we have to learn how to regulate ourselves. So I believe in morning practices. I believe in every day fortifying you have got to start the day strong. You've got to look in that mirror. You've got to give yourself those self-affirmations. You've got to remind yourself of how amazing you are. You have to remind yourself of all that you have accomplished, not just on the outside and the externals, but also internally. You have got to give yourself permission to celebrate yourself each and every single day, ideally multiple times a day. And I think if we can start getting ourselves into this mindset of belonging wherever we are present, that then opens us up to step forward a little bit more confidently every day.
Absolutely love that. I love that because I'm also thinking about, women like myself who need that support, that they need that encouragement, but also to know that you are beautiful and you're amazing. It's something that you have to start with self. And whilst you were talking, I was thinking about like armor. Well, whilst you was talking about, you have to say like daily affirmations to yourself, I was thinking about we have to put on some form of armor. We're going to war type of thing. Do you get what I mean? So that we are equipped, isn't it? We are equipped with the skills. Do you know what I mean? And also having that self-love and compassion for ourselves to know that we are more than able.
Jump in one here. That armor that you speak of, I want us to be gentle armor, right? I want us to appreciate that the armor does not have to be hard and steely. It could just be that quiet assurance as I know who I am and I am okay. And if things don't work out, there's always tomorrow. So I want that armor to look more like that. That's what I encourage people to be. I just wanted to make sure that was, because I don't want us to go out there thinking we have to go fight. It's sometimes the most effective offense is your silence and your peace, which is not fueling anything. that's negative in energy. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
That's so true because I was going to say armor for war, but I took that back because I don't want, it's so true. We're on the same page in terms of I don't want us to think that we always have to fight. And then
Mhm.
that's narrative about how, you know, Black women,
Black
we're
women.
aggressive, etc., etc. But it is exactly having that compassion for yourself, having that peace, isn't it? To know that I've got this and just, yeah, we're definitely on the same page with that. Yeah. Um, so what key takeaways could you share, you know, with regards to your own long story short and about resilience?
Yeah. Um, Sometimes we make mistakes, as in you took in a shot, didn't work out. And that is okay. And my biggest takeaway that I want everybody to walk away with is mistakes are okay, and we are not the only ones who make them. Everyone does, but for whatever reason, we may feel like the spotlight is on us when we have taken a mistake, and it's not. And even if it is, that's okay. We will learn, we will take the lessons, and that's what I want people to walk away with. Do what you are called to do, purposefully driven to do. Uh, do it scared. And if it doesn't work out, there are lessons in there to grow from. That's the biggest takeaway. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to follow your heart. Um, your life is yours. Own it. That's really what I want everybody to feel every day, that it's okay. Yeah.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I think having, I think it's going back to that compassion, isn't it? And that love for self, that it's okay. Do you know what I mean? And I remember a young lady was saying to me that a mistake is not like a delay. Do you know what I mean? We learn from mistakes at the end of
Yeah.
the day. It is growth. Okay. So having that self-love and that compassion for oneself is just so, so, so important. I think even for me, I have learned that along my journey too. Just being, it's okay, so maybe not today, but tomorrow. Oh, this happened. Okay, just chill out. It's
Yeah.
okay. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
all happens sometime. Just
Yeah.
take it easy, you know? Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Larkin, sharing your long story short with me today. And thank you again for taking time out.
It was a pleasure being here. I can't believe like this much time has gone whizzing by already. I feel like we're just getting started, but thank you for the opportunity to just sit with you today and be in your presence and be in your space. It's been an honor to just be here with you. So thank you for the opportunity.